So I am Amy Mathewson.
And I'm Ashley Johnson.
And we are here with Girl Talk.
We want to kind of make a difference in people's lives and make you be the best person you can be and kind of encourage that in your life.
We're just talking about Girl Talk, just our daily life and what we have found works for us.
Yes.
Oh, girlfriends, we are here. It is Friday, and I've got a guest with us today in the studio. I'm so excited. I've got one of my good friends from grade school, probably in the nursery at church together.
Right.
But I've got Laura Siegwart with us today, and she is, well, I'll let her introduce herself first, and then we'll jump into what our topic is. So, Laura, tell us who you are a little bit.
Well, my name is Laura, and like Amy said, we have grown up together basically our whole lives.
Yes.
I don't know if we were like super, super close friends, but we were well acquaintances. We went to birthday parties together.
Yes.
We went to activities together, and our last names were kind of close to each other,
yeah,
so we
right.
were always in homeroom together.
K and the M, yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow, you said homeroom, and I had like some memories flash up in my mind there. I don't know if our homeroom teachers really liked our homeroom very much, and it was not our fault.
It was
we
not
were the
our
innocent ones.
We were.
You said birthday party, and it reminded me of going to your house one time for a birthday party, and I don't know if you remember, we made like gingerbread aprons. It was so cute.
They were
and we
so
cut
fun.
and made the stamp out of a potato.
Mm-hmm. They were so much fun.
It was
I still
a lot
have
of
my
fun.
apron.
Do you
It's at my
really?
mom's house.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So fun.
Aw.
So Amy and I have known each other forever, and we went to college for a little bit together.
Yeah, and I'd say that's probably where our friendship really kind of got deeper, you know,
Right.
kind of took off.
Right. Yeah, and we've known each other ever since. I mean, I'm still local.
Yes.
So we still keep in touch, and we get together every once in a while and have lunch or dinner or coffee even, or
Yes.
a quick hay. And
We try to make it quick. Sometimes it could go on for hours.
we've been at Starbucks or Panera for like 2 or 3 hours before.
We've closed restaurants down before.
Like, what? It's time already?
Yes,
What?
right? It's
so
what the
fun.
Girl Talk community is all about, though. It's just you have those good friends that you could just pick up wherever you left off with and just have a great time.
Yes, and they're there to
So,
encourage you too. And that's
I would
a
agree with
huge
that.
thing.
And sharing each other's burdens and prayer requests. And definitely a valued friendship here. Well, welcome to the Girl Talk community,
Thank you.
Laura.
We're excited. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you a part of us today on the podcast. We are talking about traveling. So Laura is the opposite of me, and she is a big traveler. So we've got summer coming up. We wanted to share with you guys some tips, and we've got, first of all, we're going to start with travel tips, okay? And I've got some fun questions to ask Laura, but let's get into how you got into traveling. My traveling started, senior trip, which was hilarious because everything went wrong on senior trip.
My word.
And I did get left. I literally got left by the boat on the island, Statue of Liberty Island. There were 3 of us girls that got left, and I was one of them. So my travel experiences are a lot different than Laura's. So I'm going to be here taking tips today. So share with us, Laura, how'd you get into travel?
I got into travel. I traveled a couple times, throughout college and high school, and 1 or 2 family vacations. But
Yeah.
I never really got into it until I married my husband.
Okay.
And if none of you know me, I am a pilot wife. My husband flew for the airlines for right around 3 years. So he was lucky enough to get benefits. So he flew for a regional, and we had airline benefits on 3 major airlines. And we could basically check the loads of planes, and if we wanted to go somewhere for a weekend, then we could.
That is so cool. And it fits your personality. Because I'm like, is it time to go home yet? And Laura's like a sense of adventure. So, that is so fun.
We've had so much fun. We didn't know how to use it at first, so it took a little bit of time to do, and then I would go to see my sister just to do little things here and there, little trips, nothing international.
Okay.
And then for my birthday, my first birthday that he was with the airlines, he was scheduled to work, but I think the trip got dropped off, and he's like, let's go somewhere for your birthday. And I'm like, okay, sure. Where are you wanting to go? Florida, Texas, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, no, let's go to London. I'm like,
Oh.
okay. So we literally went to London for the weekend. And we left on a Friday night, got there Saturday morning. We had all day Saturday and half of Sunday. And you just make sure to check the loads. We were able to do that on our end.
Okay.
And we were able to make all of our flights home. And I was back at work on Monday at 8 a.m.
Wow, with jet lag, I'm sure.
Jet lag.
Wow.
Huge jet lag. But it was such an incredible experience for us, like, oh my goodness, we can do this?
Yeah,
What?
right?
And I'm
London
like,
on the weekend? What? That's so cool.
oh my word, it was so much fun. But we've just had so many amazing adventures together.
Where else have you been?
Let's see. We've done London, Paris, and Rome. I wrote it down. We did Germany and Switzerland. We love Europe. And Switzerland is probably one of our favorite places we've talked about going back. We actually Mark has distant relatives who still live there. So we're actually in touch with them. Like, we email back and forth, like 5th and 6th cousins or something.
Yeah.
But they are they're like great hosts. They love showing around Switzerland and seeing family, and we send them pictures. We actually got a postcard from them when their first child was born about a year after we had been to Switzerland.
Wow.
Like, they send mail, we send mail. Oh, yes. So it's quite a fun relationship that we have with them. We've been to Cancun a couple times.
Just a couple times.
We went for my birthday one year. I think it was my 30th? No, my 29th birthday. And that was so fun. I mean, December is cold in Northwest Indiana. So going to Mexico.
December, January, February,
and
March.
It's so cold right now. What is this, May?
May, and we have sweaters on, yes.
Oh, my goodness. I feel so cold. I'm like, I need to go home and warm up in a blanket or something.
Time to go to Cancun again.
Yes, I'm ready. So we went for my birthday, and then a year later we went for Christmas. And we just checked the loads.
Like, actually Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, we were in Mexico sitting on the beach. Yes.
Wow.
Drinking a virgin pina colada.
And your family was totally fine with you missing Christmas Day?
They weren't at first, but it's like, we celebrate Christmas like around Christmas Day. So we celebrated it with his family like the week before. And then we went to my sister's for New Year's. So it kind of softened the blow a little bit. They still weren't as
but you
forgiving.
were in Cancun, so it's okay.
The palm tree was decorated with Christmas lights, so I was okay with that.
So cool.
We actually did a trip around the world.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Before Mark left the airlines, he had about 3 weeks left, and he's like, all right, we have 3 weeks to use these benefits, because after my last trip, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what do we want to do? He's like, let's go around the world. I'm like, okay, what do you mean around the world? Like, do you want to hit every continent? I mean, what?
Right.
So we kind of had to strategically plan things, and he actually has a cousin who lives in India.
Wow.
So we flew direct to Hong Kong. We stayed the day. That was pretty cool. Hong Kong was really neat. And then we flew to India, and that was the Indian culture is very different. It's very crowded.
Okay.
And it was just very different for me. And I was more culture shocked there than I think I've ever been in any other place. So then we took a train and all this other stuff, and we went to where his cousin lives for about 4 days. We stayed with them. They haven't seen American friends in years and years, just because it's so expensive for their 6 children and them to leave the country.
Sure.
So we were able to be with them for a couple days, and then we flew from India. We were going to try and hit Europe, but they had put more cargo than people on the plane. So we're like, okay, where are we going to go? So we just flew to Toronto because we were just so tired. We were just like, okay, let's go home now.
That's amazing, though, that you can just, like, on the go, just, like, switch where you're going.
It was amazing.
Because I'm such a planner. I would be like, that plane better not be too full because I don't know what I'm going to do. I will lose my mind.
Well, my husband is very flexible with things, too. He's like, okay, this isn't going to work, like, the day or two before. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well,
I would have been panic!
Well, we wanted to do some other places and see maybe another part of the wonders of the world, because we've seen a few of them, and it's just like you needed visas, and it needed 60 days advance notice and fill out all this stuff, and it's like, we don't have time for that.
Yeah.
We'll just have to do it another time. No big deal.
Right.
So we're very I feel like that we were pretty flexible.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing all this too, and then we've been to Australia and Japan, Germany, and then we've done some domestic flights too. Wow. So we took advantage of everything that we could.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
So what's on the list that you guys haven't done yet?
Well, we actually have not done Hawaii together. We are going next Friday, actually.
Oh,
Yay!
my goodness.
We're so excited. Mark's been there a couple times.
Next Friday. So when we produce this podcast, it'll be the day that you're flying to Hawaii.
Perfect. So I'll listen to
we
it on
all
the
hate
airplane.
you right now, Laura. No, have a great time.
Oh, we will. We're so excited. Mark took his mom a few years ago with his airline benefits for Mother's Day.
Wow.
So they were there for like 3 or 4 days, enjoyed some time together, the sunshine and everything. And then I went years ago when I was in high school. My grandparents took my sister and I on a trip to Hawaii, and it was a crazy whirlwind. It wasn't a whirlwind. It was like 10 days. But it was just the 4 of us, and it was
Oh, nice.
15 years ago at least. I'm like, but Mark and I have never been together. And he's like, all right, let's go. We tried to do it last year or the year before, but our dog got sick.
Oh, that's right.
And then we just used our vacation money to get him better. And then COVID hit last year. So then that was it. So for this year, I think we only have to take a COVID test. And as long as it comes back negative, we have to upload it to a site and we should be good to go.
To fly out, you have to do that?
To get into Hawaii.
Get back. Oh, to get to Hawaii.
To get
I think
into
to fly
Hawaii.
back into the States, you have to also, right?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll have to find that out next week.
I mean, it sounds like you guys can adapt on the go real easily. So, oh, that's fun.
So we're very excited to go. Yeah.
So when you are on a trip, talk to us a little bit about, like you were mentioning before we started the podcast here, hotels, Airbnbs. Like, how do we price search to find the best place to stay? What do you recommend?
Well, it all depends on what you like, too. If you want to be a little adventurous and do Airbnbs and maybe cook your own meals, then I would definitely suggest Airbnbs. They're a ton of fun. We did that a lot internationally as well. I think our favorite one was in Rome. Like, we were in the fashion district of Rome, and we literally could walk. I mean, there was vendors and dresses and purses everywhere for sale, and we walked a mile and we were at the Colosseum.
Ooh,
so
wow.
we find some really cool places, and I think we stayed in a hotel when we went to Japan, just because it was a little bit better priced and a little bit better area for us.
Okay.
We felt a little safer. But most every other place we've stayed in Airbnbs.
Oh, wow.
And we've really never had a bad experience until we went to Alaska last year. Now, I never expected to have a bad experience with Airbnb in Alaska.
Yeah.
But we did. We stayed. My husband got his float plane rating because he's a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So we stayed at the flight school for 3 or 4 days, and then we were done. We stayed at a local Airbnb, literally a cabin. You looked out your window and you can see Mount Denali.
Oh,
which was amazing.
That is beautiful.
Just to see this whole skyline of the mountains. It was just breathtaking, basically.
Yeah.
But our first night there, we turned the heat on because it got cool. And Mark was sitting next to, I believe it was the gas heater. So we fell asleep and we woke up. And we woke up in the middle of the night like twice. And we're like, why does my head hurt so bad? We went back to sleep, had some water, whatever. Woke up and our heads are just pounding. We're like, what in the world happened? So come to find out later, like an hour later, Mark started throwing up. And all this stuff. We're like, you gotta be kidding me. We opened windows, tried to get outside, get some fresh air. Called his sister, who's a nurse. And she's like, I think you guys got carbon monoxide poisoning. We're like, you're kidding me.
Oh, wow.
On our only free day, and the closest urgent care or hospital was over an hour away.
Oh.
And we're like, okay, this is what we're doing. It's like, well, we can't die on our trip.
Yeah, please don't.
So
step number 1 on your travel tips, don't die.
Don't die, yes.
Oh, wow.
So we ended up going to the urgent care, and we were there for about 3 or 4 hours.
And did they confirm that that's what it was?
They did blood tests on both of us, and we both had carbon monoxide poisoning. So Mark had it worse than I did because he was closest to the heater. Yeah. And the guy felt really bad, so he did reimburse us, which was nice.
Yeah.
But then he also paid for us to stay at the hotel, the nice resort that was there. So we didn't leave any bad reviews for him or anything. And then he felt bad, but he's like, I just got this. So it's like,
you're reminding me now, like, as you're saying all this, because we stay at Airbnbs all the time. So one of them that we stayed at, we walked in, and it was, like, dirty. So you could see the dirt and the crumbs like all over the floor. The counters had not been cleaned.
Oh, no.
So I called the host, and like Grace and Gwen, I don't know, yeah, we did have Gwen. Grace and Gwen was like a baby, so she's crawling on the floor, like putting plastic in her mouth. So I was really kind of irritated, you know. So I called the host right away, and they were like, I can't believe it didn't get cleaned. And at this point, you're like, I don't even want to sleep in these beds.
Right.
So they did pay for us to stay. We stayed, which kind of it's fun when that works out because like we get to stay right downtown on the water.
Oh,
so that was cool. And then like one time we stayed at a house and the heater wasn't coming on. So it was like 60 in the house. We were freezing. But then it worked out cool too because they had a fireplace in the house. So they came over, the host did, and they were fixing the heater, but then they like started the fireplace, which you're not allowed to use. They didn't allow it because it was like too much of a risk, you know, for these guests to just use a fireplace.
Right.
So that was cool because we actually got to like sit by the fireplace and enjoy a crackling fire.
Right, that's neat.
And then one time we stayed, just my mom and my sister, we stayed like for a quick weekend. and the house kind of had like a smell when we first walked in, and then the smell never went away. So like we stayed for just a quick weekend. By the time we were ready to go, we're like, please give us some fresh air. But it was like a smell like a mouse maybe had like crawled into a vent and like died. Yeah. No. But so it's funny because I forgot about all of that when you were like talking about your stories. I'm like, oh, I guess we do have a few Airbnb stories too. But I can't say they were ever bad experiences. Like the hosts are always like more than willing to like make up for it. So
and
that's a lot
that's
of
very
fun.
nice. That's good that they do that.
Yeah,
because then
right?
that makes you want to come back.
Right.
And hopefully have a better experience too.
Agreed. So let me ask you a few questions while we're wrapping up this one, and then stay tuned for our next week's episode on Girl Talk, guys, because we're talking all about packing tips, because Lord knows I need some help there. Okay, but let's first go to, can you, like you said, your next place to visit is Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So can you pick like what your favorite place has been so far to go?
Our favorite place? It's hard to pick a place because every place
They're
is
so
so
different.
unique and
Yeah.
different. But like I said, I think we really loved Europe
Yeah.
and Switzerland, just the mountains, and it's so clean over there too.
Sure.
It's just gorgeous. There's old history there too.
True.
In one of the towns in Switzerland, it's called Lucerne, and it was built, I think, in the 1200s.
Wow.
And they literally have the towers that like guarded the city that were still there.
Okay.
And there was actually like an old walkway that supposedly is the original walkway. Like certain parts of it are original.
Wow.
That's still standing.
That would be incredible to see.
It's
So I do
beautiful.
agree with that. That
Yeah.
would be a fun part to travel.
Yeah.
So when you talked about the culture shock, especially for India, right?
Yes.
Do you recommend like adjusting to the culture, embracing it, trying the food there, or do you stick to your comfort zone?
There's really, when it comes to India, there's really no choice in not adapting.
Okay.
They don't have McDonald's on every corner.
Yeah.
When we were at the airport, I think the only familiar restaurant we saw was Krispy Kreme.
What
So,
are we
Krispy
what are
Kreme,
we
I think
eating in
Subway.
India? I don't know if I
don't
need to
remember
travel
if I
there.
ate it in India. I don't remember that.
Oh my goodness.
No, they have all kinds of, I don't even remember what we ate. There's a lot of rice.
Okay, I could do rice.
There's lots of rice and meat. They have a lot of fresh fruit too, so that helps.
Okay.
There's lots of little markets and vendors walking around the streets. So I really cannot remember what we ate in
Yeah.
India. I remember that the train food it smelled terrible. So we didn't eat that.
Oh boy.
So it was
I'm not
more-
sure we're recommending India, guys.
It's very rough. I'm
Let's
not
go to
I'm,
Europe.
I'm not I'm not dissing India. It's just it's
Like culture shock.
It's very much a third world country, and you have like 1 billion people
In
in
a
a very tiny mass.
Wow.
And Delhi is one of the largest cities, I think, in the world.
Wow.
It's got over, I think, 4 or 5 million people just there.
So it would be like a quick experience and get back out. Okay, let's go with would you rather. Would you rather only visit places that you've already been or only visit places you've never been?
I think it would be the latter, only visit places we've never been.
You have such a spirit of adventure.
Because there's so many places out there that we still haven't been to
Yeah.
that we really want to. Like
And I guess we just established we don't want to go back to India, so let's keep going for new.
Well, we haven't been to Africa yet. It's one of the only,
Ooh.
Africa and Antarctica are the only continents we have not hit yet. And it's going to be a little hard to
Wow.
get to Antarctica unless we like stow away in a container ship somewhere.
I wouldn't put it past you, though.
I think my husband has actually looked into that a little bit. I'm like, okay.
Okay, so I talked about getting left on the island on senior trip, right? So
Okay.
here's a would you rather. Would you rather be left in a bush on a safari or left in the ocean on a scuba diving trip?
Oh, man.
I know.
I'm deathly afraid of the water.
Oh.
And I'm deathly afraid of getting eaten by a lion in Africa.
You're doomed.
So I am doomed either way. Let's do the water because at least I won't burn, I guess. I won't sit in, I don't know, probably the ocean then.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm a little
Just
more
float
afraid.
along. Okay.
Yeah.
Last one. Would you rather take free flights for the rest of your life or eat at restaurants for free for the rest of your life?
Ooh. I'm going to do free flights because I can go anywhere in the world.
That's true.
And then I just have to pay for my food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's
could handle
me.
that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well-
Because I wanted adventure to new places anyways.
True. New
So-
places, free flights.
No, I'll take it.
So we're starting a GoFundMe for Laura's food account. No. All right, Laura, I am so excited to launch this podcast out for everyone. If you don't know Laura, you need to get to know her because she is a friend that is a true friend. So follow her on Instagram, Facebook, follow along her exciting life, and then tune back in next week for your packing travel tips.
Thank you.
Hey, girlfriends, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast today. We are grateful to have you here.
We are Girlfriends Just Talking. We want to encourage women to live an intentional, powerful, positive, and spirit-filled life.
Come check us out over on Instagram and Facebook, where we have a community of women encouraging other women. We'll see you there.